This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
It's the Friday News Roundup. We're talking about SEPTA buses on fire in North Philly, plus more details on the agency's funding troubles. And Center City residents file a bike lane lawsuit. It's Friday, June 6th. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's been talking about all week. Joining me this week at the Fiddler Club is CityCast Philly executive producer Matt Katz. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Trenae.
This SEPTA funding issue is off the rails. It's like do or die time for SEPTA. More than a $200 million budget deficit, cuts to 45% of buses, train service beginning in August. Dozens of bus routes could be shuttered. 5 regional rail lines would be eliminated in January. Train service would end at 9 p.m. And fares would go up to 21.5%.
Plus layoffs.
Plus layoffs.
This is all if this budget bailout from Harrisburg doesn't happen.
Okay. Then this week, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in a fitting metaphor, several buses, like 40, caught fire up in the Nicetown-Tioga area early Thursday morning. These are buses that are electric and gas-powered, no injuries reported.
Yeah, it was a depot up there and just plumes of black smoke hovering over this thing. The city actually sent out an advisory after the fire to tell residents in the area of Nicetown-Tioga Hunting Park to stay inside because of potentially dangerous, hazardous air quality conditions.
I think when I saw the news, I was like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable.
SEPTA can't catch a break.
Not that it's like a major fire like this, but just like you just said, SEPTA can't catch a break.
Yeah, and we are like in the moment right now when SEPTA and our politicians have to figure out what happens here, because the scenario that you just laid out about the future of SEPTA is just untenable for Philadelphians. So for the last several weeks, I've been seeing more and more people on social media calling out our legislators, so the Philly-based Pennsylvania legislators. They want them to come together as a block and say, we're not voting for any state budget. And the state budget's supposed to be approved by June 30th.
Which is like 3-4 weeks from now?
Yep.
Okay.
And the SEPTA funding, this money that they need, is all tied up in the budget negotiations. So people want our legislators to say, I'm not voting for any budget that doesn't include enough money for SEPTA. And the Inquirer had a story this week that gets to that very thing. They noted that Governor Josh Shapiro and his fellow Democrat, the majority leader of the state house, Matt Bradford, they will not say that they will refuse to approve a budget that doesn't fund SEPTA. So that's a little disconcerting for those of us who are worried about the future of our public transportation system here. Now, these negotiations are really tough. The politics here are really complicated. You have Republicans who control the Senate who are reluctant to send more money to Philly. You have Democrats who barely control the House. And then obviously Shapiro, Democrat, is in the governor's mansion. Now, Shapiro held a press conference this week in Harrisburg, and he was talking about the importance of mass transit funding. He's clearly saying this is a priority. So even though he's not saying I'm not going to sign a budget without the money there, he is prioritizing this. And his plan is to set aside 1.75% of the sales tax to go to mass transit. And these are mass transit agencies all over the state, not just in Philly. But he said he's open to other revenue ideas as long as it's an ongoing source, so it keeps coming every year and they don't have to have this budget freak out every June.
Right. We had some tape from Shapiro.
I believe this is unfinished business for us and for the millions of Pennsylvanians who rely on public transit every single day. I think it's also important to note that 2/3 of the people who ride on a bus here or a trolley or a train somewhere else, well, 2/3 of them do not have other means of transportation. So this sort of idea that, well, if you can't catch the bus, you can hop in your car and still get there. That option doesn't exist for 2/3 of the people that jump on these buses. No way to get to that doctor's appointment, to the grocery store, the pharmacy, to school, or to work. It's a big deal for people who rely on public transit.
Shapiro said he would fund roads in conjunction with public transit because Republicans, particularly from other parts of the state, they say we don't want to keep sending hundreds of millions of dollars down to this transportation system in Philly that we don't use. I mean, obviously the thing is we, as taxpayers in Pennsylvania, pay for barely used rural roads that we don't ever use.
Right, like we all pay for our, like everyone pays for everything, right?
Yeah, we have to like think of things more communally. And, you know, we live in a city that draws tourist dollars that help the state, that help everyone in the state. And beyond that, I mean, the public transportation system here is like a school bus in rural Pennsylvania. It's like a rural highway. I mean, my parents, who are senior citizens, they use SEPTA to go to the doctor. My son is going to take the 17 bus to school next year. Kids in the city don't like get on yellow school buses paid for by taxpayers. They get on the public transportation system.
The thing people have to also remember, like we're not in the days where like our children go to the neighborhood schools. A child from like Southwest Philly is going all the way up to Alany to Central.
No doubt.
So I don't know, Matt, we got to see this louder maybe. I don't know. But really, what could a deal look like? If this is being held up by the Senate, which is controlled by Republicans, what do they want?
They don't want to pay for this through the sales tax. They want there to be another source of revenue. That's what some Republicans are saying. So other revenue sources could come from legalizing and taxing cannabis, though a legalization bill doesn't seem to be moving at the moment. They could come from formally legalizing and taxing some of the video games, those skill games, they call them, that you see in bodegas and gas stations.
It's like little mini casinos.
Yeah, exactly. So there's been talk for a while now of taxing those and using that money to pay for transportation needs in the state, including public transit. So that's a couple of the potential compromises. And there was a positive development this week. There's a small delegation of Republican legislators from Philly, who live in Philly, and they support SEPTA. And they could have a lot of sway here. So Republican Senator Joe Picozzi of Philly announced this week a bill to try to get Republican support for funding SEPTA by doing some things to SEPTA that Republicans want, like cracking down on fare evasion, eliminating some of what he called outdated bus routes, and even having naming rights on mass transit.
But wait,
yeah.
What?
We're going to get the City Cast Philly
17
bus.
That's crazy.
That'd be pretty cool.
That's cool.
You announced the stops. On the City Cast Philly 17 bus, it's like, I'm Trenae Nuri of City Cast Philly, and you are at Walnut and 20th Street.
That would be so cool. I've been looking for some voiceover work. I mean, Matt, to be honest, there's other cities in the country that are also facing funding issues with their mass transit. And I've been hearing about other cities like Chicago that are facing cuts. Mm-hmm. The Inquirer says that's because ridership dropped some after the pandemic, so less revenue. Also, federal aid related to the pandemic has run out. And then operating expenses are higher. And, you know, here in Philly, you know, people sometimes they say that they don't feel safe. So it's a lot that goes into this conversation, but we'll keep our eyes on it. We've got more news after the break.
This episode is brought to you by San Pellegrino. A meal isn't just about what's on your plate. It's about what you bring to the table. San Pellegrino believes the table is where the best of life happens. That's what makes gathering around it so rich and rewarding. And with their unique, sparkling natural mineral water, San Pellegrino brings its best so you could bring yours.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
All right, y'all. This controversy over safer streets, or like we called it, whose streets? Is it bikers, cars, pedestrians, delivery drivers? It just took another turn. Friends of Pine and Spruce, which is a group of residents in Center City, have sued the city over bike lanes because they say the city doesn't have the authority to take away parking spaces.
Yeah, so technically this lawsuit is not against the bike lanes. Specifically, it alleges that the new loading zones at the corners on Pine and Spruce are illegal. But the thing is, those loading zones were created to address the fact that it is now newly illegal to stop in a bike lane with your car, and there are expected to soon be physical barriers that protect those bike lanes and sort of enforce that no stopping law. So in exchange for these barriers, because people can no longer pull over in front of their house, or delivery trucks can't pull over in front of homes to drop stuff off, that's why they created the loading zone. So it's all sort of connected. What the residents say is that they can't stop in bike lanes anymore to drop off stuff. Then you have these new loading zones, which are taking away their parking spots, and they say that violates their rights. And we know Philadelphians have a lot of opinions about these bike lanes. We got an email from a CityCast Philly superfan who reads our newsletter, Hey Philly, every day. And Terry is a daily cyclist. And Terry said that this lawsuit is, quote, just exorbitantly wealthy folks trying to block access to safer streets for all because it inconveniences their parking. And there is like a class thing, by the way, here.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, Pine and Spruce are like beautiful Center City streets.
Love the homes.
And $1 million homes.
Yeah.
Not everybody there is wealthy, but a lot of wealthy people are there, right? So that's part of what's going on here. Terry went on to say that the streets are public and these residents don't own them, so they shouldn't be telling us what to do with them. And, quote, this is just another example of NIMBY opposition disguised as legal claims to muck up the process and try to prevent any kind of progress in our beautiful city.
Terry is pissed. I mean, I hear what Terry is saying, but just because someone is wealthy, you know, so to speak, so they don't deserve the right to park their car near their house. I mean, like, if we were talking about a different neighborhood, not in Center City, you know, we kind of want to park in front of our homes. But anyway, especially, you know,
but if you live in Center City,
you're paying those PPA zone fees.
Well, those aren't that much.
It's not?
It's like $80 a year, I think.
Okay.
Yes, you got $1 million
here. Okay.
I mean, in the scheme of things,
there are parking lots and garages in the area.
$75. It's $75.
Okay. Well, who? I mean, not everyone has, but not everyone has an extra $75 just hanging around.
That's fair.
Right?
That's fair.
Okay. And then there are parking lots and garages in the area where I guess residents could put their cars, but those prices, I mean, just forget about it.
Those are really expensive.
And I'm not saying get rid of bike lanes, because I think it's just great. It's and they should be protected. I just think there's got to be more responsible ways to share the road so no one feels like it's not fair. Like, bikers don't have to pay to lock up their bikes on street poles.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of poles.
Yeah, but like, but drivers have to pay to park.
But the argument about cars versus bikes is bikes don't use the extent of public communal resources that cars do. They don't harm our health by shooting exhaust into residential neighborhoods.
Okay.
And bikes are not dangerous to other people sharing the road as cars can be.
Yeah. Okay. I hear you.
Listen, we all got to share these streets, but it is getting a lot more complicated. There's more and more people who are biking. There's more and more people who are living in Center City.
Or just going to Center City to eat at the nice restaurants.
Sure. There's more and more trucks dropping off, a single tube of toothpaste at 8th and Pine or whatever.
Or
I mean, it's getting more
couch.
complicated. Right. Well, anyway, Trenae, we will leave this debate for many, many other shows because this is going to continue to go on. But I have another transportation-related update for you.
Okay.
Do you remember the story we did a few weeks ago on Friday News Roundup? It was about this guy who is Amtrak's project manager in charge of restoring 30th Street Station.
Oh, yeah.
So he was conspiring with a contractor on the project to have them inflate their invoices by about $2 million. I mean, this is money that Amtrak was paying. And in exchange, the Amtrak guy was getting his pockets lined. He got luxury watches, vacations, limo rides, cash, and do you remember
the fancy dog or something?
Got a German Shepherd puppy. So the guy who was enriching himself, who was working for Amtrak, has since passed away after this has been going on for years, this federal investigation in this case. But this week, Donald Seifelt, who's a 65-year-old man from Illinois, he worked for Mark I, which is the company that was found to have been bribing the Amtrak guy. This Donald Seifelt was sentenced to 5 years in prison for this scheme.
Wow.
6 people have pleaded guilty in the scandal, including 4 from this company, Mark I. These were the folks who were issuing these bogus invoices. Seifelt is the first to be sentenced here, and Judge Wendy Beetlestone, she said in court, according to the Inquirer, "If everyone did what you did, we would not have a civilization." Pretty strong words.
That is strong.
You think it's too much? You think we
Yeah, that
still
was
have
a little like...
civilization? I mean, we got bribery going on all the time.
Like corruption hat. Come on.
Come on, Judge. You never been to Philly?
Yeah, like... All right, we've got more news after this break.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Tic Tac. Summer tastes like Tic Tac. Tantalize your taste buds this sunny season with citrus adventure and orange. 2 everyday flavors that bring summer in every... Tic Tac Citrus Adventure is a yummy, vibrant medley of lemon, lime, and mandarin. And Tic Tac Orange is the perfect mix of tangy and sweet. Visit us at Tic Tac USA on social to refresh your summer with Tic Tac.
All right, Matt, what are your weekend plans?
Well, I'm not going to Wissahickon Park because there's coyotes there now.
Coyotes?
Yeah. This, according to, I'm looking at the paper right now, Inquirer. Coyote sightings prompt reminder, the Wissahickon is a wild place. So they quote this guy who wakes up for a 4:15 a.m. run, which, by the way, I mean, if you're waking up at 4:15.
He's going to bed at like 8.
I know. That's unbelievable. So he woke up for his normal 4:15 a.m. run, and he heard, at least he said, 3 coyotes. And apparently there have been a number of recent sightings. So look out for that. I will not be going there. However, I will be going to the woods, taking my kids camping. We're going to Promised Land State Park, which is about 2.5 hours outside the city. I think it's the best state park in Pennsylvania, although I haven't been to most state parks, but it's a great one. It's beautiful. We stay on this little peninsula that juts out into this lake so we can watch the sunset.
Aww.
And while I'm watching the sunset and building a campfire, I will not be drinking beer.
Why?
Oh, it's illegal at Pennsylvania state parks.
Yes, actually, I did know that.
So I will not be drinking beer. Anyway, what are you doing?
Well, yesterday I was bawling my eyes out. I was watching my little one move up.
Oh,
She
bawling your eyes
graduated-
out in a good way.
Yeah. She was. She was graduating from 5th grade. So
Aw.
graduation season is upon us. I would just say, just practice patience because the roads are more congested with families in town. But congratulations to all the college graduates. I think some of them have already graduated. High school seniors, 8th grade, 5th grade, and kindergarten.
And congratulations to you. You are the mother of another middle schooler.
A new middle schooler. And then Sunday is a Dune Day. It's their 50th anniversary. 500,000 people are coming down to celebrate the African diaspora. And this week I chatted with Oshunbumi Fernandez-West, the daughter of the late Odunde founder, Lois Fernandez.
Oh, she was so great, Boomy. That was a great interview.
Thank you. And what really stood out to me in this interview was really about the economic impact that this festival has on Philadelphia and Pennsylvanians. As Boomy says in the interview, in just a matter of a 10-hour period, so much money is being made for small business owners. And we've seen and talked about funding being stripped from organizations. And going back to that first story we talked about, like, again, without SEPTA or with those cuts, I mean, it's going to trickle down to those small business owners and how they provide products and services to all of us. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Odunde is Sunday.
Take public transportation. If you're going to Odunde, it is. There's not really a lot of parking over there.
Not a lot of parking.
And you can't park in the bike lanes anymore.
You can't do that either. All right, Matt. Thanks for chatting with me on the Friday News Roundup.
Have a beautiful weekend, Trenae.
Thanks. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. What a week. Our executive producer is Matt Katz. Our producers are Abby Fritz and Selena Say Reynolds. Our Hey Philly newsletter editor is Siani Cologne. And our host is me, Trenae Nuri. Music is by Philly's own Interminable, with additional music from All the Kimonos. If you enjoyed this week of episodes, share with a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter, Hey Philly. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Have a great weekend and be safe, y'all. Bye.
I saw a meme the other day where a biker comes by, on your left, and the person who's walking in front of the biker starts doing the L thing with their hands from elementary school, because it's like in those moments when the biker's like, on your left, you're like, wait, are you coming on my left? Or am I moving over to the left? Which way is my left?